Gripen E operates with a new agile architecture system, which allows the aircraft to be upgraded with new tactics and new capabilities seamlessly.
What we designed the system for is actually to be able to withstand the extreme max in terms of cold, so minus 40, minus 45.
10,000 research and manufacturing jobs could land in Canada if Ottawa adds the Swedish fighter jet to its military fleet.
We, as Saab, we are prepared to do that technology transfer to Canada. And so
there's a question that defense ministers ask behind closed doors, away from the cameras, away from the press briefings, away from the theater of military spectacle. Not which jet is the most powerful, not which platform makes the most impressive headline. The question is simpler and more dangerous. Which aircraft keeps flying when everything else has already burned? Dear viewers, Donald Trump's America has spent decades building a narrative. The narrative says power comes from dominance, that the most expensive platform wins, that nations who want real security have no choice but to buy American, fly American, and ask permission from America before they do anything with what they bought. Mark Carney does not react. He calculates. Because while Donald Trump's America was selling the dream of the F-35, the crown jewel, the fifth-generation masterpiece, the stealth fighter that costs more per flight hour than some nations spend per soldier per year, a quiet architectural shift was happening in the global defense order. And Canada, under the calm, sovereign resolve of Mark Carney, was watching every single move. This is not a story about which jet flies faster. This is a story about who controls the sky when America decides to flip the switch. Back in the 1970s, Sweden stared into an abyss that had no comfortable answer. A neutral nation compressed between two nuclear superpowers with no alliance guarantee and no rescue plan. Stockholm couldn't dial America for air cover, couldn't purchase American jets and then sit quietly, hoping America would never decide that those jets were more useful as leverage than as tools. Couldn't build an entire Air Force architecture around a supply chain that an adversary could sever in the opening hours of a war. That fear did not paralyze Sweden. It became a design philosophy. The Gripen was not engineered to win magazine covers. It was engineered to survive a war Sweden might have to fight completely alone. No reinforcements, no massive prepared bases, no luxury of runway time. That is why it never chased stealth the way the F-35 did. Stealth is an advantage, yes, but one that comes packaged with enormous operating costs, brutal maintenance cycles, suffocating complexity, and software that America controls at the source code level. Sweden chose a different architecture entirely. Flexibility, survivability, rapid dispersal. The Gripen can launch from a civilian highway. 500 meters is all it needs. A 6-person ground crew can fully refuel and rearm it in 10 minutes flat. The entire system is designed to disappear, to scatter across a country, never presenting a single concentrated target waiting to be erased in a first strike. And that philosophy, that exact philosophy, is why mid-tier nations around the world keep arriving at the same conclusion. There is a number that defense planners never say out loud at a podium, but it is the number that decides everything in a prolonged war. Cost per flight hour. Read that again. The Gripen runs at approximately $8,000 per flight hour. The F-35, Donald Trump's favorite symbol of American aerospace dominance, burns through more than $33,000 for that same hour in the air, a gap of more than 4 to 1. Translation, with the same defense budget, a Gripen pilot flies more than 4 times as many hours as an F-35 pilot, 4 times the training, 4 times the tactical repetitions, 4 times the opportunities to build the kind of combat reflexes no specification sheet can manufacture. A cutting-edge jet grounded by parts shortages doesn't beat anyone. A pilot with low flight hours because operating costs consume the maintenance budget will lose to an opponent flying an older aircraft that simply trained more. Combat readiness is the real currency of an air force. The Gripen was designed from its foundation to maximize exactly that. On purchase price, the Gripen E comes in at roughly $85 million per unit, placing it in direct competition with the F-35 on sticker price alone. But with dramatically lower operating costs across its entire service life, the total cost structure tells a completely different story. That is the calculation Peru ran in July 2025, when it chose 24 Gripen E/F jets in a $3.5 billion deal, rejecting both the F-16 Block 70 and the Rafale F-4, with the deciding factors being total cost structure and technology transfer terms that did not include American approval conditions baked into the contract. Spending more does not create power. Spending smarter creates sustainable combat capability. And what happened next reveals everything about where the global defense order is heading. On July 26, 2025, the Royal Thai Air Force deployed 2 JAS-39 Gripens alongside 2 F-16 to strike Cambodian artillery positions near the Phu Mak Hua border area and the Tam Mun Temple complex. The first time in history the Gripen was used in actual combat. Weapons released, targets neutralized. Entire formation returned safely. The conflict had erupted from territorial tensions simmering for decades around the Preah Vihear Temple region. Cambodia opened with artillery and rocket strikes into Thai territory. Bangkok answered with air power, and the Gripen flew not as theory, as fact. It operated in a mixed formation alongside F-16 Bronze, a live demonstration that it integrates seamlessly with Western platforms without depending on American command and control architecture. 5 days later, a ceasefire took effect on July 28th. The international response arrived quickly. Sweden publicly expressed concern about its aircraft being used in armed conflict, with the foreign minister confirming awareness of the Gripen's combat involvement and emphasizing international humanitarian law. A fighter jet is not simply a weapon. It is part of a geopolitical web connecting manufacturer, exporting nation, and operating nation. That detail matters, and it gets quietly erased in the enthusiastic coverage. But on purely military terms, the performance drew significant positive assessment. And on August 5th, 2025, Thailand's cabinet approved the purchase of 4 additional Gripen E/F aircraft as part of a long-term modernization program. That decision did not come by coincidence. It came days after the Gripen confirmed its value in real airspace with real consequences. Mark Carney does not react. He calculates. Because while Donald Trump's America was leveraging the F-35 program as geopolitical currency, using export controls, software dependencies, and procurement pressure as instruments of influence, the Gripen's open software architecture was quietly absorbing something far more disruptive. In May 2025, Saab completed 3 test flights integrating an AI agent called Centaur TAR into the Gripen E under a program named Project Beyond, in partnership with German defense AI company Helsing. The flights ran from May 28 through June 3, 2025, over the Baltic Sea. A pilot sat in the cockpit, full authority over long-range maneuvering, and beyond visual range air combat tactics was handed entirely to Centaur. This was not autopilot. In beyond visual range scenarios, Centaur autonomously analyzed real-time sensor data, planned maneuvers, avoided unfavorable flight paths, and guided the pilot on precisely when to fire. In the 3rd flight on June 3rd, Centaur went head-to-head against a Gripen D with a real human pilot and adapted in real time as the test team changed starting distance, speed, and severed the command data link entirely. Saab's head of advanced programs, Peter Nielsen, noted that the speed of this integration demonstrates the Gripen's qualitative edge in absorbing new technologies. In software, there are no generations, only speed. And the Gripen's electronic warfare suite, built on gallium nitride technology, allows it to detect, analyze, and jam enemy radar systems, including missile guidance, before an opponent achieves a targeting lock. In a widely cited training exercise, the Gripen approached a Eurofighter Typhoon without being detected, not through physical stealth, through electronic suppression, invisible by blinding the other side entirely. By November 15, 2025, Colombia had signed a formal contract for 17 Gripen E/F aircraft worth $3.6 billion, after a years-long evaluation that eliminated the F-35 and the Rafale. Peru, Thailand, Colombia. The common thread running through every single one of these decisions is not that the Gripen is the most powerful option available. It is that the Gripen is the most fitting option for nations operating under real budget constraints, requiring genuine strategic independence, and refusing to accept that their Air Force sovereignty should come with American approval conditions embedded in the software. NATO compatible, but not dependent on America for encryption keys or operational clearance. That distinction is something a growing number of nations now consider non-negotiable. This is not Donald Trump's world order fraying at the edges. This is the architecture of a new one, built quietly, contract by contract, flight hour by nations that asked a better question. It is not the biggest that owns the sky, it is the smartest. What do you think about all this? Tell us in the comments below. See you in the next one.